Welcome to 12 News. I'm Jade Alexa.
And I'm Chloe Ortega. Thanks for joining us. Here's some of the stories we're following today, Thursday, October 21st. A late-night sweep of the Raymond Detention Center uncovers drugs, weapons, and other contraband. We'll tell you what they found and the message the sweep was designed to send to detainees.
And Jackson police investigating another deadly shooting in Jackson. We hear from JPD on what led up to the city's 121st homicide of the year.
And the Yazoo City Police Department is trying to connect with the community, while the new chief says it all comes down to respect. All those stories and more coming up, but first let's have a check on your forecast. Jacob and Jay, the first thing I noticed, it was warm and it was foggy.
Yes, you got to deal with that fog this morning as you make your way around.
Yeah, that's right, Jade and Chloe. It's everywhere. We have low visibility and dense fog advisory in effect this morning. We have visibility less than a mile from Vicksburg to Port Gibson, all the way down to Macomb, Columbia, Prentice, Brookhaven, and even here in the Jackson Metro, foggy locations near downtown as well. I mean, there's the view. We can't see anything this morning, so you need to take caution, add a little extra time to your morning drive. Low beams very helpful, and yet it is warm. 71 degrees right now in Jackson. That is much warmer than we were earlier this week. Hattiesburg and Macomb sitting at 69 degrees. So foggy this morning, feels a little spooky out there for late October. In the upper 60s, the fog should clear though with partly sunshine for this afternoon as we make it back into the middle 80s. I am tracking about a 30% chance for rain later on this evening, and I'll time that out for you coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Jacob. New this morning, several law enforcement agencies came together last night to conduct a sweep at the Hinds County Detention Center in Raymond.
The sting operation comes days after a detainee was attacked and killed while being held at the jail. Some of what was found included things like cell phones, money, jewelry, drugs, and homemade knives. On Monday, Michael Richardson was attacked in a pod where living conditions had already caught the attention of federal officials. As a result, interim Hinds County Sheriff Marshawn Chrysler says he wanted to send a strong message to detainees in response to the attack.
And we found a tremendous amount of contraband, weapons, and drugs within these walls. It's not uncommon to find these type of materials and certain substances, illegal substances, in jails. What we have to do is make sure that we send a strong message that we're going to be vigilant and we're going to be consistent about removing these dangerous weapons and these illegal drugs out of our jails.
Marshawn Chrysler says the investigation into how some of these items made their way into the detention center is ongoing, and additional charges could be coming for detainees and any accomplices they may have.
In Jackson, police are investigating after a man is found dead after being shot. JPD says the shooting happened after an argument at a gas station. Police say the argument was between two men. After the exchange, one of them was seen following the other to an area near Overstreet Avenue. That's when he pulled out a gun and fired several shots. The victim, who's believed to be in his 20s, suffered multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. JPD is now looking for the suspect.
Succumbed to his injuries on scene. The suspect was a light-skinned male driving a gray in color Chevy Cobalt, and we're actively looking for the suspect vehicle at this time. Is in the area of Overstreet.
This latest deadly shooting pushes Jackson to more than 120 homicides with a little more than 2 months left in the year.
A few weeks into his new job, Yazoo City Police Chief Joseph Head is trying to build more transparency with the people living in his community. Head says his main goal is to bridge the gap between the community and law enforcement by fostering a goal of service, respect, and compassion. To make these changes happen, the chief says he will need help from the community. He also encourages anyone to reach out to the department with any concerns or feedback.
Because right now it's no respect, but it's up to us to build that respect back with the citizens, because we're the ones that caused them to lose it for us.
Chief Head says while he's a little short-staffed on the force, they are committed to their goal of improving the relationship between the police and the community.
Now to the coronavirus. Mississippi's health department recorded 448 new cases on Wednesday, pushing the state to another grim milestone in the pandemic. Our state has now recorded more than 500,000 cases of COVID-19 since the pandemic began last year. And with 11 more deaths being reported, Mississippi is now 38 deaths away from the 10,000 mark. Over in Covington County, the school board has voted to lift its mask mandate. Masks are now optional for both students and employees. But if a school sees positive cases increase by more than 3% of its enrollment, masks will be reinstated for a minimum of 10 days or until the numbers drop below the 3% threshold.
President Biden continues the push for his infrastructure, social spending, and climate proposals. On Wednesday, the president was in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where he was born, to sell his Build Back Better agenda. The president lowered his target price range to just under $2 trillion, with Democrats possibly slashing paid family leave from 12 weeks down to 4. And the tuition-free community college proposal could also get tossed out. Democrats are hoping to preserve Medicare expansion, universal pre-K, and a short-term extension of the child tax credit.
When people ask me what are the 3 most important issues facing the Congress, I always say the same thing: our children, our children, our children.
Democratic leaders have a self-imposed end-of-the-month deadline to reach a final agreement on the social spending and climate package. Hitting that deadline would also allow them to move forward on the roughly $1 trillion bipartisan fiscal infrastructure bill. All right, and your time right now is 4:36.
And coming up on 12 News, we take you to Canton, where a balloon release was held to honor survivors of breast cancer and domestic violence.
And coming up on 12 News at 5:30, a gun was found on the campus of Clinton High School. Why parents say they're afraid to send their children back to school.
And we do have the chance for a couple of showers today, but as we head towards the weekend, we're clearing out and warming up. I'll have your day forecast coming up next.
But first, taking a look at our live eyes, Hattie Peck Honda in Ridgeland. It is foggy out there, so make sure you drive carefully with the low beams on. Thanks for watching 12 News.